The Christian bias sees that type of foreshadowing as the telling of the story of God, not only all through Scripture, but all through nature, in the stars, in the constellations, in history. God wrote his story into history. In fact, that's where we're heading starting next Sunday for 10 weeks, taking a look at the whole of history as just that, his story. And to see how time after time God wrote the message of the Messiah into the pages of the past. And it's not, as these clowns will tell you, a story based on nothing. In fact, one last clip. This is the last one.
Evidence of any person living with the name Jesus, the son of Mary, who traveled about with 12 followers, healing people and the like? There are numerous historians who lived in and around the Mediterranean, either during or soon after the assumed life of Jesus. How many of these historians document this figure? Not one. However, to be fair, that doesn't mean defenders of the historical Jesus haven't claimed the contrary. 4 historians are typically referenced to justify Jesus' existence. Pliny the Younger, Suetonius, and Tacitus are the first 3. Each one of their entries consists of only a few sentences at best, and only referred to Christus or the Christ, which in fact is not a name but a title. It means the Anointed One. The 4th source is Josephus, and this source has been proven to be a forgery for hundreds of years. Sadly, it is still cited as truth. You would think that a guy who rose from the dead and ascended into heaven for all eyes to see and performed the wealth of miracles acclaimed to him would have made it into the historical record. It didn't, because once the evidence is weighed, there are very high odds that the figure known as Jesus did not even exist.
And that one, quite frankly, is an outright lie. To say there are only 4 accounts of Jesus, 3 of them by title only and the 4th one a fraud, I think they were smoking the pages of their history books, not reading them. There are more 1st century accounts of Jesus than there are of any other figure at that time. And I mean accounts written too early for myth to have grown. 39 non-biblical sources with over 100 references to Jesus. I don't know where they came up with those figures. And literally thousands more if you include the early biblical manuscripts. There is one paragraph from Josephus that they mentioned that probably is a fraud. It was there was some Christians later added some stuff to make it look like he said about the resurrection. That bit was added, but that doesn't take away from the fact that Josephus still wrote about a Yeshua who people followed as a non-Christian historian. There are governors and historians with no Christian axe to grind who mention Jesus and the crucifixion. And yeah, most of them by title only, Christus, Christ, but then they clarify it and say the one worshipped by Christians. So they're obviously talking about Jesus. To make that claim that there are 0 accounts of him is academically criminal. Can you tell I'm passionate about this stuff? Sorry, you seek the truth yourself. Seek it in history, and I hope you'll find the Messiah, as I did. Seek it in his story, and I know you'll find this Messiah is no myth.